Hello, my name is Mark Wiltshire, and this is a quick video to give you an overview of the Basecamp Manager role in Toastmasters Pathways. The Basecamp Manager is a new role that is there to be the gatekeeper and validate people's progress through the new Pathways learning experience. What we'll cover in this quick overview video is what the Basecamp Manager role is, and that is we'll have a quick chat about the email setup and the recommended approach to get that set up, and then talk about the 4 tasks that you will complete as the Basecamp Manager. The first task is managing level completion. Second task is completing anyone's progress through printed materials. The third task is validating requests for doing projects outside the club, both the initial request and the completion requests. And then task 4 is tracking progress. Quick overview about myself. I run a mobile app and website development company. I've been a Toastmaster for 3.5 years. I've been VP membership and president of London Public Speakers, and I was a Pathways guide supporting 10 clubs in District 91 through the rollout of Pathways. There's some great resources on my home club website, the londonpublicspeakers.co.uk, under members tools. There's a whole series of videos that I've been creating as a Pathways guide, and there's a whole load of tips also about getting the most out of Toastmasters. There's also the 2 Facebook groups here that you can ask questions if you have any about Pathways. So what is the Basecamp Manager? Basecamp is like your toolbox, your toolkit for accessing Toastmasters Pathways learning experience. And your members will use this toolbox to access their paths and their projects and learn and get the most out of Toastmasters. Your job as the manager is to keep that toolbox organized, to validate their progress as they go through Pathways. In Pathways, members are now progressing themselves through each learning path. So you as the manager are validating that progress each time they complete a level. It also has the ability to track progress, and therefore you as a club have much more information about the members who are progressing well and those that maybe aren't and maybe need a little more support and encouragement. So each club should appoint a Basecamp manager. This will usually be the Vice President Education, with support from the President and Secretary. Note that the Basecamp manager can only be one of those roles. Because Basecamp Manager is accessed through Toastmasters.org website, you have to be the club official in one of those roles to have Basecamp Manager access. And you're responsible for these 4 tasks: completing level and path completion, confirming project and level and path completion for printed materials, managing external club projects, and tracking progress. And here's a quick checklist that I'll show you again at the end of this video. Each time you log into Basecamp Manager, you should check and complete these 4 tasks. When you first start and get used to it, it'll take you a little bit of time, but I now complete this and it takes me 5 minutes each week. You come in and you check, has anyone completed a level this week? Do I need to validate that completion and then print any certificates? Number 2, if anyone in your club is doing printed materials rather than online, you will need to validate any project or level that they complete. Recommend that you have a list of members who are on printed version of Pathways. You'll also respond to any external training requests. Within Pathways, you can now complete a project outside of a club. And members will make an initial request to say, I think this fits this project. Can you validate that that's right? When they complete the project, they'll come back and say, I've done that. Can you give me the credit so that I can continue on my path? And then finally, your track progress. Recommend once a month you go in and do that and track the progress, print it out, and then you have a very easy way to see who's progressing and who isn't. Important point to note, anyone who's still continuing the old education program, you'll still need to register these awards in Club Central. So Basecamp Manager, you'll receive notifications whenever there's a task for you to complete. But as I said, I'd recommend that once a week or once a fortnight, depending on how often your club meets, you just go in to Basecamp Manager and check if there's anything you need to do and run through that checklist that we've just seen. Toastmasters International recommends that you set up the 3 Basecamp manager roles, that is the VPE, the President and Secretary, all to have access to email so that they can get those notifications. How we've done this in our club, and it also fulfills some GDPR requirements, is we have a hello@londonpublicspeakers.co.uk Gmail account. The Vice President Membership and Vice President Education both have access to this email, and then when the roll rolls over at the end of the year, we just hand over that email account and all the contacts to the next person, therefore keeping it secure and within privacy policy rules. Recommendation is you just log into Basecamp Manager weekly and do your requests anyway. So there's a lot of screens next, but the idea is this gives you a complete overview of all the steps that you need to go through. As I said, once you get in the habit of it, it only takes you 5 minutes to complete. So how do you access Basecamp Manager? Log in to toastmasters.org website and then go to Welcome to Pathways. In the middle section here, you can see Access My Path through Basecamp. And as I am a Basecamp Manager, you can see I've got the Login to Basecamp Manager. If you're a member of multiple clubs, you'll be able to select your club here in the middle. When you first log in, go into your pending requests. This is like your inbox. Here we can see we've got a user who has completed their level 1 in motivational strategies. Apologies for the low quality of this. These have been copied out of the Toastmasters PDF manual because I don't have access to people who've completed level 1 yet. As you can see here, you've got the person's name. If you click on their member's name, you'll see their transcript. You can see that they've completed. As VPE, you know if they've done their projects or not. You can now click the green mark to approve that project or hit the red X to deny it. Either way, you get a form to add some comments to give back to the user based on what you've selected, and then hit submit. When anyone's completed a level, I recommend that you go and print the certificate there and then. So use your very helpful friendly search at the top right, start searching for the member's name. Then check you've got the right name and click on transcript. Then click on open curriculum on the path that they're completing. And then for the level that they've just completed, click view details, then view training information, and then print certificate. Recommended to then give that at the next club meeting to the member. This is a great way to encourage guests who are coming to show people are making progress, but also validate that they've made progress and encourage them to continue on their path. Also remember, you can buy ribbons from the Toastmasters International website if your club so decides to give those out as well. Remember, I would recommend buying these in bulk to save on your shipping costs because these are only available from the US. Second task, if you've got anyone in your club who are doing printed version of Pathways, you will need to validate every project and every path that they go through. I don't know anyone in the 3 clubs I'm associated with who's doing printed materials, but if you do, this will be a task that you'll need to come in and do regularly. Again, use the search box in the top right to find that user, go into transcript. For the path that they're completing, go into open curriculum, and then if they're on level 1, for example here, we go on view details, we view the checklist, and under completion we can check that box. The page will reload and we can see that it's 100% complete. So we effectively allowed that person to go on to the next project. When they've completed all the projects in this path, we do the same for the level completion. We view the checklist, check the box. Again, we can go in and print the certificates. We click on transcript, open curriculum, view details, view the checklist. Here, slightly different from print, we go into the attachments and then check the PDF box here. That'll give us the fantastic certificate we can give them to at the next meeting. Task 3 is when you're working with projects outside the club. In Pathways, members can now complete projects outside of their club. That means either at work or at home, in a social situation, or in another club outside their home club. The member needs to carry out 2 actions to complete this. 1, they put in an initial external training request, and 2, when they've done the project, they again put a request in to say they've completed that project. These will again appear in your pending requests inbox in Basecamp Manager. Here you can see the member, and we've now got a different icon. We've got this inbox icon. And we can see it's an initial request by the type. You click on the folder next to the member's name, and then you can see the details about this initial request. You now may not be familiar with the project that they're doing. This is Team Collaboration, Successful Collaboration Project. So you need to decide if this meets the requirements. So if you go into Tutorials and Resources, then look up Project Descriptions, then go into the language that you are taking the project in, then find the project and select it. Once you launch it, you'll be able to see a quick overview and transcript of that project. Now you understand what the project is about, you can go and validate that initial request to say, yes, that fits the requirements for that project. So you go back into your inbox, and again, now you've got the green box tick and the red cross to either approve or deny that request. Again, you've got the option to add some comments, particularly important if you're denying the request, why you're denying it, and then hit submit. When the member has completed that external training request, you will now have to validate that to give them the credit so that they can go on to the next project. Again, go into your inbox. Here we can see the initial request with the inbox icon, but you can see here the type is now completion. You can go in and re-evaluate what that project was and remind yourself. You can click on here also their attachments. If they're, for example, they've added a photo of them at the event, so you can validate if they've done it, and you can click the green checkbox to approve or the red cross to deny. Again, add some comments and click submit. Finally, as all this system is online, you have the fantastic ability to track member progress. When you go into member progress, there are 5 tabs down the left-hand side here that each give you different information about the progress of members through pathways. You've got individual progress, path type, recently selected paths, and external training. The individual progress shows individuals' progress through each path and each level. So here, always get into the habit of whenever you come into these screens, click on Options, Refresh to make sure you've got the latest data. These aren't refreshed by default when you first hit the page. Here we can see level 1 progress. So we've got 1 member in motivational strategies, 1 in strategic relationships print version, and then 2 people in team collaboration, all in level 1. And then you've got level 2, 3, etc. down the page. If you want to look in the details of each of those levels, you click the View Details on the little triangle in each graph. Here you can see the status. Registered basically means they've started the path but haven't opened any project to start it. In progress basically means they've opened the project and started reading it, and therefore they're in progress. You also have a printout of the percentage completed. So there's a number of projects in level 1, so this will be an indication of how far through that level they are. The second tab is path progress. So here you can see people who've registered, people who are actually in progressing, and people who completed. The third tab shows path type. Again, go into path type and refresh, and here you can see the number of people who are online and the number of people who are print. In View Details, you can go and see details and see that member's name for the people who are going through this project. Recently selected paths will show you the people who have selected a path in the past month. So you can see new people who are starting on a new path. This is particularly useful if you want to line them up with a mentor who has already done that path or is already a little way down that path. Again, View Details will give you the details of the members' names who have just started that path. Finally, external training. You can see the number of people who are waiting for a initial requests to get approved, the number of people who've got requests in but are still waiting to do the project, i.e. it's in registered, and the number of people who completed a external training and are waiting for you to approve that so that they can continue on the next project. Again, do the refresh and then view details. We'll see the training title for each of those external training requests. So that was a very quick overview of the Basecamp Manager role. Hopefully you'll find that useful when you come in and do these tasks. As I said, it only takes you 5 minutes once you've got used to it, and I recommend using this checklist each time you do log in to make sure you're doing all the tasks that are required. They are: any member who's going on digital, you need to validate their level completion and print off the certificate so that you can give it at your next club meeting. Any members who are going through print, you need to validate any project or level they complete and print off any certificates. If anyone's doing external training outside your home club, you need to respond to that initial request and the completion request. And then once a month, I'd recommend doing the track progress so you can see how people are going and help those who are in need of assistance. Hopefully you found that useful. If you've got any questions, visit the Facebook groups that I talked about earlier, and I look forward to seeing you at a Toastmasters event soon. Thank you.